You have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
I
know
he did it.
You've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before.
Tell him the story.
Tell him the story. So we talking about rumors, right?
Yeah.
And we, when you Google his name, there's a rumor that pops up that he was Diddy's boy toy.
Oh shit.
Right?
Wait, so this is...
Hey, what's up, King Son? Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you. Yeah.
For me, you already knew the type of nigga before you got here. Don't play. Relax and
Another rapper is doing his best to distance himself from Sean Diddy Combs after the music mogul was arrested and charged with racketeering and crimes. We're taking a closer look.
The new documentary didn't create the gossip. It brought back a chapter that hip-hop had seemingly pushed aside beneath years of success and silence. For years, the connection between Diddy and Meek Mill existed in an unusual gray area, visible to the public but rarely explained in detail. Old appearances, casual interactions, and industry moments are now being viewed through a different lens, making things that once seemed ordinary feel more significant. When influence operates without meaningful scrutiny for years, the question eventually shifts from what happened to why people waited so long to question it, and who benefited from everyone remaining quiet.
Meek Mills. Well, he said a Philly rapper. You understand? And it was redacted in the paperwork to that because first of all, it had Meek Mills, it had Stevie J, they had redacted their names, and they had Usher, and they redacted their names and just said a performer of the Super Bowl and a Philly rapper. Everybody kind of knew back in the day that Meek Mills and Puff was a little...
When staying silent becomes advantageous, 50 Cent has consistently built his reputation around challenging that silence. His involvement in the documentary doesn't come across as accidental or passive. Instead, his decision to revisit these issues appears deliberate, with a goal of directing attention toward questions that others may have avoided.
Anytime two rappers or two people in the industry come dressed up alike on more than one occasion, listen here, man. My dudes in Philly, I got some real strong dudes in Philly. They don't play that shit. And they probably embarrassed for the fact to see that Meek Mills, one of the street guys that came out of there, got caught up in this Hollywood whereas that he's dressing the same he dressing like Diddy? Hugged up with Diddy? I think that Lil Rod know a lot of shit, but I know this. Two men dressed alike, it's just like two men laying down. When they both get up, they both homos. And that's real talk, bruh. My man, you go to a party, dog, and the nigga got the same shirt you got on, I'm taking my shirt off. I'm walking around in a t-shirt. And then, not to blow Meek Mills up out the water or anything like that, it was said that they checked his Google search and all the other shit, and he was searching for some online gay porn and all that other shit like that.
Oh, wow.
That shit crazy, bro. But listen, those are what, it's crazy that money, that lifestyle, and you trying to fit into something, get you. These guys never set out to do all this shit. Meek Mills, when he got into the game, he didn't set out to be question about his manhood with Diddy. But he put himself in that position.
Having made his way through the music business without depending entirely on its protection, 50 Cent speaks from the perspective of someone who experienced the system and managed to distance himself from it. By addressing these subjects now, he moves the focus away from simple speculation and toward the people who remained quiet while influential figures were able to operate with little resistance.
Meek Mill and P. Diddy matching outfits picture goes viral after Meek Mill comes up in this lawsuit, right? You got this lawsuit where this dude is suing P. Diddy and people been going through it. He brought, I believe, a Young Miami name came up in it, like about her cousin, doing some things. And then the dude also stated that P. Diddy was bragging about getting with somebody who is a Philadelphia rapper who used to date Nicki Minaj. Goddamn, Meek. No, Meek, no. Boy, it's getting hot up in that kitchen now. It's getting hot up in that kitchen. So now all of a sudden, this pic done came out. They got the matching shirt on and all that. Boy, ain't looking good out here. Ain't looking good out here for Diddy and them. Ain't looking good. And this is just the beginning. You let them tell it. It's just the beginning.
To turn around and just tear his whole life down, but it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. It's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? It's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do it out, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You gotta have principles, you gotta have morals, you gotta keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You gotta know better. And if you know better, you will do better. When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed and everything like that. He turned into something that you could consider a monster, bruh. Then he started doing things to people, you understand, that he learned. That's a learned behavior, bruh. Now, I'm not saying that he may have been doing a couple of things here and there with women, stuff like that in New York, but the things that they're talking about that he was doing, bringing in prostitutes to have sex with his girl and all that stuff like that, that was some crazy stuff to me, man. So I'm just looking at this whole thing, man, and you had asked me, and we don't have these conversations like most people do. We're gonna go back and you're gonna tell me what, we're gonna talk about this. You said, I'm gonna ask you how you feel, bro. I don't want no man to ever go to jail and be leaving their kids behind, be leaving their family behind. You understand? But some dudes belong in jail based on what they do and how they do it. We know that to be true. And it's just this situation, man, when they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bruh. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were in.
Meek Mill sits at the heart of this story, not as someone being accused, but as a figure whose position is more complicated. His career has involved repeated encounters with power, authority, and survival, moving from difficult circumstances into the courtroom and eventually the highest levels of the music business. The documentary raises the possibility that being close to powerful people may not always provide protection and could instead create its own pressures, with success sometimes carrying expectations that are never formally stated but still understood. Within hip-hop, loyalty can sometimes demand silence even after the attention and applause have disappeared.
That sounds strange. Because you as a man, if you know you ain't do nothing and you ain't got no problem with nothing and you sure with yourself, you don't give a what nobody else say. Why you gotta hire somebody that you wanna make sure or prove to somebody else that you and Diddy didn't have a relationship when you know within yourself you didn't have a relationship with him? Tell him give me that 100,000. I tell everybody, Meek Mills ain't do shit with Diddy. And make sure everybody know that. Don't make no sense as a man. They talked about Jesus Christ. What are you worrying about what they say about him?
Do you think maybe he just wants to know what the feds know about him?
The feds gonna let them know anyway. When Diddy gets discovery, if he lets this go to the point whereas that whatever the feds is charging him with, they have to give discovery. Now, they don't have to give and show everybody what's on those tapes. You understand what I'm saying? And those tapes could be locked up and sealed away for a very long time. But whatever they charge with, they're gonna give the defense team the discovery. And if it's seen that somebody is there doing something that appears to be illegal, and he's a part of that, it'll be in the discovery.
From what I understand, the feds are real tricky. It's not like the state where they let you know everything ahead of time. Like, a lot of this stuff you might not even know up until right before the trial starts.
They can't produce it still, bro. If in fact he's being charged with something, that's where you have your good lawyers tell the judge, nah, Your Honor, we didn't get that. You can't bring that in court like that. That's what you have good lawyers for.
One of the things that I think was, you know, I kind of just didn't understand it, but they're saying that Diddy is facing asset forfeiture. The government wants to seize the properties tied to racketeering, trafficking, and prostitution charges.
That's a good way of saying that what a black man has earned all these years for doing music, we want to take it away because he didn't get this from doing music, which is a lie. He got those things for doing music, selling alcohol, doing whatever he was doing. So now they want to put a crime on it and try to seize his property and seize his things that he has earned, which has nothing to do with what they're trying to charge him with.
Yeah, it's literally nothing to do with what he's being charged with, which is what I thought was.
Diddy's public image has been carefully maintained and reshaped throughout decades of branding, success, and reinvention. But influence doesn't always leave an obvious trail. Rather than relying solely on direct accusations, the documentary examines patterns, conduct, tone, and the ways authority may operate away from the public eye. His composed presence during periods of controversy can raise questions about whether the chaos surrounding him was simply coincidental or whether certain circumstances were influenced by the way his power was exerted.
I think I told you about that. One time, him and somebody, him, Sarah, and this young girl flew from Atlanta, and they, and flying from Atlanta, we had this artist with us, right? And we were staying in the presidential suite at the hotel. And this particular artist and Puff, they told me, don't let nobody come in the room. So I said, all right, cool. So I propped my chair by the room door while they went in. So this artist's cousin knocked on the door. So I went to him and I let him in because I knew him, I see his face and everything. I seen his face several times before. He said, yo, I gotta speak to my cousin. And I said to him, I said, well, they busy right now, man, and they told me don't let nobody come in the room. He said, yo, I'm going in the room to get my cousin out. And I said, bruh, you ain't going in the room to get your cousin out. They told me nobody could go in the room. So he said, I don't care who you are, what you doing like that. I'm going to get my cousin. He went to go and try to open the room. I grabbed his ass, joked him up, and slammed him on the piano. And the next thing you know, Puff and this artist run out the room naked. And so then I said, I see the artist trying to grab a towel. Puff didn't give a shit. And the artist like, yo, what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? He's like, yo, G, that's my cousin. And I was like, yo, my man, he was trying to get in the room and y'all told me don't let nobody else come in, let nobody come in this room. Jesus Christ gonna have to come take the, Puff no, Jesus gonna have to take the air out my body if anybody coming in that room. And Puff just looked at the artist and the artist said, you ain't wanna come up in there? It was a lot of on. That was it. And I ain't telling you the artist's name.
Oh, man. So you ain't gonna tell the artist's name, yo?
You ain't wanna come up in there? Cause it was a lot of freaking shit going on.
Was it a rapper or a singer?
It was a rapper. A rapper that probably do a little singing too. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Said. The leaked audio didn't necessarily create the underlying story. It gave people something concrete to examine. The tone and language revealed aspects that public statements and denials could not communicate in the same way, including signs of hierarchy, aggression, and private authority that appeared different from the public image. Once those recordings became available, conversations that had previously remained in the background became much more serious. When private words intended for closed environments become public, established power structures can lose control over the narrative, forcing reputations to face scrutiny without the usual layers of protect.
Him getting backlash, people feeling like, he being fake because, he had a relationship with Diddy. Like, how you feel about that?
My man, I can't judge Meek Mill as a man. I don't know Meek Mill as a person. You understand? And if he wants to say no Diddy, no homo, no this, no that, that's his choice. I know a lot of Phillies dudes and they strong out there, and some of my people are cool with Meek Mills. You understand? People. Some of my people are cool with Meek Mill's people. Meek Mills was a young guy, and Diddy was an influencer, and he may have influenced a lot of things that Meek Mills got caught up in the game in. Brother, I don't know Meek Mills as a man. You understand? I know some of his people through my people who knows his people. If Meek Mills want to say no Diddy, if Meek Mills want to say no homo, I don't have a problem with Meek Mill doing that. Meek Mill's got to deal with what he got to deal with based on the relationship him and Puff had. Dressing alike, being cozy, Puff calling him daddy, saying little innuendos to him. People are looking at that and saying Meek Mill is wrong for saying no Diddy. But you can't tell a man how to spend his money and how to make love to his wife or his Diddy. So, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. I just don't know.
Nah, I feel you, man. You know, I get it, man. I see where you're coming from. But I gotta ask you about this party, right, that Diddy threw for Meek Mill. You heard about how the owner, she came out saying that she found used condoms, lubricant, razor blades, powder, blood on the bed sheets. You heard about this?
No, what happened is that Diddy had rented a mansion out for Meek Mill's birthday party, and he had rented it for like $25,000. I remember we rented one of Cher's mansion out. You know what I'm saying? And that's the day he had fired his cook, but that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? It was me, Wolf, Mace, Ock. Was Ock staying there? No, just me, Wolf, Mace, Puff, and there was one other person staying in the mansion. But anyway, long story short is that they came recently. This happened a long time ago, but they recently just made a statement that they found loads of cocaine. I wonder what they did with the cocaine, because they didn't turn it over to the police. They say they found loads of cocaine, razor blades. They said that the sheets were bloody, nasty. They found a whole lot of used condoms. And it was a Diddy party, giving in Meek Mill's honor for his birthday. I was like, yo, wow. They said it was disgusting the way that they left the place. So I know they got hit with another bill on top of that $25,000 and the different deposits they had to put down for cleanup and all this other stuff. It was crazy. It was one of the property managers, they had rented out a mansion. I heard about that whole story.
10. Many longtime industry figures didn't react with complete surprise. Instead, some responded as though the revelations matched stories they had already heard over the years. Accounts that had previously been dismissed as rumors, resentment, or personal bitterness suddenly received renewed attention. People familiar with the industry described patterns they believed had existed for a long time but were rarely documented publicly. A carefully protected reputation can postpone difficult questions, but it cannot necessarily prevent them forever. Eventually, unresolved parts of a powerful legacy can return and demand examine.
Hard to think. But then if you got the A-listers, you know, you got to realize he ran with that that Rat Pack, and I don't even say their names because they said I got their names wrong last time. What's his name? Kushner. What's the other guy? Leonardo. Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shot. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So it's quite a few tapes that might be out there, what they're hearing. And I don't want to see the tapes, but I want to know if they really true. Because if they got if they got some tapes out there and it's with some underage, whether it's celebrities or not, it's gonna be crazy, bro. It's gonna be real crazy. And they're gonna have to bring that to forefront because the prosecutor's gonna want those tapes. And they're gonna do whatever they have to do legally to get those tapes. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. So we just better hope on for his sake. That's just a bunch of bull crap. But then there's lawyers out there saying, yeah, the tape does exist. Lawyers got on television to say the tapes exist. I don't really know or trust that, because they was trying to say he had a tape with one of the bodyguards and this lady that came out. So we don't know what to think until we actually see that and we get that version. You remember we had that bootleg version of R. Kelly tape?
Yeah, I remember that.
They don't even bootleg. Yo, they don't even bootleg no more, man. So it's gonna be hard to figure it out if it does exist.
Do you believe the guy in the tape is white?
If he's bigger than Diddy and he's not none of the names that I said, probably so. But then they say he was young too.
Yeah, they say he was young.
Let me get his name right. I hope it ain't the Bieber. I hope it's not the Bieber.
That's a good one. It might be him. But if they saying that the guy is young and he's an A-lister, I can't think of that many black people, man.
Right. Not at all. And somebody that more powerful, more of a celebrity than Diddy. You understand what I'm saying? If they were saying somebody that was more celebrity than Diddy, he was an A-lister, he was younger. You know what I'm saying? And if he's not black, it would have to be the Bieber. That's his name, Bieber?
The issue extends beyond individual musicians and reaches into the larger machinery that keeps the entertainment industry operating. Behind major stars is an extensive network of managers, lawyers, financiers, advisors, and other gatekeepers who can influence careers and outcomes. The documentary suggests that protection within hip-hop may sometimes depend less on simple loyalty and more on how valuable someone is to the system. When that system begins to break down, individual people can become the focus of blame while the larger structure that allowed the situation to develop remains largely.
You just don't just turn in a matter of years the way he was doing people, man. You understand? Check this out, bro. He led Biggs to his death. He caused a rift between Wolf and BMF that led to Wolf death. Cussed Wolf mother out. Lied about owing him $300,000. Cause you had asked me how I feel, and I'm gonna get into how I feel. Took a good friend of ours who raised money when he had the City College tragedy. A good friend of ours did things to make him popular in Harlem. Let him hang with us, be part of our crew the whole 9 yards. Disrespected him and wouldn't help him. This is how I feel about him being locked up and going to jail. Some people, their karma is so strong for what they do and what they did. The stuff that he did to Craig Mack. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff that he did to Black Rob and all those people in the spiritual world right now. His karma was about to catch up and was bound to catch up with him. You understand what I'm saying? His karma was bound to catch up with him, brother. So, all these things that's going on right now, the learned behavior, what he got from these people who was not living spiritually correct with their behaviors and the things that they've done. He go and transfer and do that to people with the fact of all these people that he's hurt, that always helped him and been on his side and been there for him. What's happening to him now is one of the greatest tragedies that we're gonna ever read about, bruh. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare couldn't write in Richard. He couldn't write it in Macbeth. He couldn't write this shit in Romeo and Juliet. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies of hip hop, along with Pac's death, along with Big's death. And he brought it on himself because he knew that he was wrong, and he knew that he learned something that wasn't right. He know different from right and wrong, bro. You have a way to change. You know when something is right and when something is wrong, and you know if you wrong, you get help. He didn't choose none of that, bro. He chose to be who he is, and now he gonna learn. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Intact. What 50 Cent has presented is not necessarily a final answer, but a crack running through alliances that were protected for years. The documentary doesn't resolve every unanswered question. Instead, it highlights contradictions, tension, and periods of silence that are becoming increasingly difficult to maintain. What is unfolding goes beyond conflict between individual artists and points toward a broader breakdown of an industry narrative built around influence, control, and carefully managed images. In hip-hop, uncomfortable truths rarely emerge quietly, and once more of the picture becomes visible, the real question will be whether accountability follows or whether the same patterns simply repeat themselves.